today's class, like, I wanted to jump out my skin when the Most High dropped this into my ruach, my spirit, because it's like he is real, he's alive. And like that old school, I grew up in an old school church, and I would say, neighbor, turn to your neighbor and say, I don't know what you've been told, but Yah don't play about his people. That's what I would say. If we was inside a big church, I would say, turn to your neighbor and say, I don't know if you've been told, but Yah don't play about his people. So, and just today, this morning, because when you're studying and when you're a servant of Yah, it's never over till Yah tells you it's over. So I always go over the notes again and says, Father, is it more? Did I miss something? And just this morning, as I'm going back over the notes and the slides, the TV's playing and a little news clip playing, a little girl, and that's how they get people's mind with little cute little children. Like, oh, like, man, it's a shame. And the baby all bloody and the baby got cut up. Man, this is horrific. This is horrible. So this morning, the news clip showed a little girl asking, why is Russia doing this to Ukraine? And you being a human, all sympathetic, like, it's just Russia's a bad people. Putin's a bad man, baby. Because they don't understand what's going on, family. They don't understand what's going on. So we're going to, and if I could sing, I ain't going to sing. I'm not going to sing. Don't worry about it. Y'all relax. But the whole time while I'm building these notes, the song that popped in my head, it's a Christian song. It's a good song. My God is awesome. That's what I kept hearing in my song. My Yah is awesome. Come on. That's all and hide me from the rain. Our Yah is awesome, family. Our Yah is awesome. And everything that's going on in this earth is his design. And I know we all have the question, is it Yah or is it just evil? Because we don't know for sure, but I got witnesses today. that this is Yah. Ukraine's pain is Abba Yah's reign. Ukraine's pain is coming from Abba Yah. Yah is raining down Ukraine's pain. And I'm going to show you what witnesses that I know what I'm talking about. I'm not making this up. I'm not being evil. This pain they're going through is ordained from our Father because he don't play about his people. He don't play about his people. Y'all ready to go into this? Last week, and this is how good he is. The English language can't describe him to us. But last week, when we was going through last week's class, that's why, like, I tell you sometimes, like, when y'all talk, I really don't grasp what you're saying until the replay. Like that week when you brought out about when we're going to examine the different dialects of the Father's name, and you were saying that if it's Ahia really has validity, why did he name Judah Judah or Ahia? I didn't really catch what you said until the replay, because as we're going live, the Rawak is talking, Most High is talking to me, I'm making notes. So I didn't really catch what you said until the replay. I'm like, that's game over. And we're not shunning those who use that name or that dialect, but if we're being Bereans, if his name is really Ahia, why we don't see a form of that in none of our elders' names? Judah's not named a Judah or Ahia. Judah's name is Yahweh. Our uncle Joseph's name is Yahwasap. Yahwasap means Yah has increased. They didn't name him Yahwasap. So as y'all in here, as we was going over last week's class, I'm hearing the Father speak to me, but I couldn't stop and write it down. And then when I was at work replaying it, he came. Did you catch that? I'm like, what? So it's confirmation that little old dirt bags with no education, I'm taking the foolish things of the world and I'm confounding the wise. Your pastor up there with that shiny $3,000 shoe on, red bottom shoes on. He looking good, got a good education. He signed his name with 15 letters behind his name. Don't even know you shouldn't have a Christmas tree inside the church. Don't know that eggs don't come from bunnies. And little people like us is like, well, no, that's not really in the Bible. How you know that? Who told you that? It's right here. Abba Yah is confounding the wise by little old people like you and I. Well, he speak kind of rough and he kind of ghetto and whatnot. My Messiah is from the ghetto. What did they say? We have found the Christ. What did they say?
Can't be from that. Nothing good comes
from next. From next? Nah, we gotta see this joker. When they see him, that's Joseph, boy. Ain't the Messiah.
He
ain't nobody. We're confounding the wise, family. It's Abba Yah. So Isaiah 55 and 11. Y'all remember that? Who remember that from last week? Isaiah 55, not you. Oh. I know you be on it. Isaiah 55 and 11. Anybody remember that? What did the Most High say in Isaiah 55 and 11? Anybody on last week? Shamoya, take us to it. Take us to it. Isaiah or Yashayah, Yah is salvation. Yashayah, Yahawashai, Joshua and Isaiah are the same names in Hebrew. Yashayah means Yah is salvation. Yahawashai means Yah is salvation. So Isaiah 55 and 11. Shema, when you have it. Shema.
So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
Let me get that A flat. Yeah. The Most High is saying, my word is not coming back to me void. In the 80s, we had a saying, my word is bond. When I was telling you I'm gonna pick you up, my word is bond. I'm gonna be there. When I'm telling you I'm gonna pay you on Friday, my word is bond. My word is if you don't keep your word, your reputation don't mean nothing where we come from. If you say you're gonna do it. So the Most High is telling us here, my word is bond. When I tell you I'm going to rain down vengeance on the people who touch you, I'm raining down vengeance on the people who touch you. His word is not coming back void, family. In our tongue, we would say, DABARYA, Abba Yah. DABARYA, his word, Abba Yah is referring to who's saying it. So DABARYA, Yah at the end is what we would call a pronoun to use their system. So Yah at the end is referring to Abba. So Dabar is word, DABARYA is his word, and then we put Abba Yah because we're referring to Abba Yah. So DABARYA, Abba Yah, his word.
Sometimes if I said Akia or DABARYA, it could be my word also, right?
Right.
It depends on the context.
Right.
Okay.
And some generations they would use the Yah for my, and in some generations they use the Ah. They would say DABARYA. Adabar, my word. So every generation kept switching stuff up. That's why I'm trying to get back to pre-exilic before we got kicked out. But it still would be, a Hebrew speaker still would know what you were saying. If you said DABARYA or Adabar, I just would keep listening to you, and I know by the context, you're saying your word. That's how that's the same way we learn English, we learn Hebrew. So DABARYA, Abba Yah, his word. Father says his word will not return until him void, right? Anybody believe that? So his word is prophecy. In the Hebrew, prophecy is nabayim. Nabayim. Prophet is nabah. Nabah. We are all sons of prophets, so we are prophets. We are prophets. The church twists that and they say, oh, prophet, well, you don't prophesy. You're conflating two different things. A seer sees the future by Yah. So in old Israel, we say he's a seer. But a Nabah, a prophet, the whole nation are Nabayim, because when you look at the characters for Nabah, the seed inside. Everywhere we go, we take the seed that's inside and we share it. So when you catch me down and I need a lift up, you will share that seed inside of you and let me know, brother, y'all reigns, he gonna be all right. Your crop's gonna be, your crop didn't come in, I got a whole bunch of, that's what we do as a nation. So if the church missed this, we are all prophets. That don't mean I'm going to see the future.
Just like you came in there the other day and you was like, stay strong, brother, stay strong. That was so simple, but it helped.
Oh,
when you do that, like I was like, he was just like, just stay strong, brother. Stay. I was just like, those words help.
Kaya Dala Yahweh.
You know, yeah.
Kaya Dala Yahweh. That's what we're here for, to uplift each other. That's why we need a help meet. We need a rock, because this life is, like we just said, we're going through trials and tribulations. You're going to have your valley. You're going to have this thing about bless when it come, bless when it go, we bow down. If you go back and read it, it says if you keep these commandments, you'll be blessed. But even keeping commandments, you're going to have valleys and peaks. You just don't want to stay in that peak and then start giving yourself a pity party. And now you stay in that valley too long, it becomes what they call depression. You're just going through a valley. You keep praising, and Abiyah bring you back up to the peak. And you try to stay on that peak as long as you can. But again, y'all to take you back. You're getting too big for your britches, boy. You ain't praying like you used to, boy. You used to come see me 9 o'clock, noon, and 3. Now you're just showing up when you want to. So now I got to take you back down in the valley. Because y'all know, Father, give me a job. I'll be in church every Sunday. He give you that job, you in church every Sunday. Praising him. Now you getting a couple raises. You done traded in that Ford Escort for a Lexus. Oh, Pastor, they got me working overtime. Why they got you working overtime? You don't bought a Lexus. You see how, now we back praying, Father, give me. No. Christianity messed us up. You're too big for you. So, Nabayim is prophecy. Prophecy. The Father's word is prophecy. Take us to Zechariah. Let's go to Zechariah. Zechariah is Yah has remembered or remembered by Yah. We know it as Zechariah. Zechariah. Let's go to Zechariah or Yah has remembered. And all of these are coming from the Septuagint. And also, I forgot to tell everybody, those online as well, if you ever want a copy of the presentation, just send a text to the Telegram or to the email, and I'll make a PDF copy you can have for your notes. This is not about me. I want, wherever you are, wherever the Most High take you, I want you to be able to teach others. So if you want a copy of these slides, you always can have it for $9.99.99. Oh, calm. Thank you. No, we don't charge for anything, family. You don't have to pay for nothing. Nothing we teach is coming from me. So you won't pay $1 for nothing. You know, you support us how you can support us, but we don't charge for no classes. If you want to copy these slides, just send a text or email, and I'll make a PDF version you can open up on your machine. All right, Zechariah 2:12. We there? Read.
For thus saith Yahweh Shadyah. That's the right one, right?
Is it 2 for me? Is it 2?
Let me.
I got Zechariah 2:12. We, the Most High will inherit Judah as his portion.
Khan, that's what we want. That's what we want.
Right.
That's what we want.
And the Most High will inherit Judah as his portion in the Holy Land, and will still choose Jerusalem.
That's what we want. Read it again. Get your mic.
And the Most High will inherit Judah as his portion in the Holy Land, and will still choose Jerusalem.
Zechariah 2:12. This is a future tense. It says the Most High still will inherit Judah in his land. In his land. So this is a future prophecy. And remember, we're standing on Isaiah 55:11, his word will not return unto him void. So this is where we're starting at. We're going to base this on the Most High's word. And now we're getting one of his prophecies in Zechariah 2:12. He's going to inherit Judah in his land. So this already cuts this replacement theology, right? So let's get the next witness.
Yeah, I guess it's just different. I don't know.
What version you read? That's what, sometimes they mess the chapters up.
It's the Britain, because in chapter 1, verse 1 says, "And I lifted up my eyes and looked, behold, 4 horns." Zechariah. Yeah.
It starts with
verse 2 and 12. Read how verse 2 and 12.
Well, I just started at the top of the chapter first. Now, just to make sure. Because I'm using it's the Britain.
Oh, SELAH. I think it is. No, that's 2. Let me backtrack on mine.
Because I see it in KJV, I see what she read, "And Yahweh shall inherit Judah his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again." That's what I see in KJV, but I don't see that in the Britain.
So the Britain chapter 1 has 21 verses.
This one.
So chapter 2 starts, "And I lifted up my eyes and looked."
That's what chapter 2 has in mind.
That starts chapter 2.
Yeah, that's what I got. But when I get down to 12, it says, "Yahweh, after the glory, sent me to the nations that spoiled you. For he that touches you is as one that touches the apple of the eye."
I think that's 2 in Zechariah 2:8. Yeah, so in the Britain, that's 2:8. So you got Britain?
Yeah, I use this in class, and I use the Britain online.
So that one you use in the verses are off. That's all. Because in the Britain, and that's actually the verse I wanted. Let's go back up to Zechariah 2:8. In the KJV is Zechariah 2:8. In the Britain is Zechariah 2:8. So when you're using different versions, you just gotta match. Sometimes you gotta fish for the verses. That's all that is. Some publishers, if they add words and stuff like that, the verses are going to get out of whack. So you still got the same text. It's just the verses are out of place. So go back and read that one too. That's a good one too. Zechariah 2:8.
No, I was reading 12 in the Britain.
Zechariah,
you want the part about apple of the eye?
Con.
Yeah, it's verse 12.
Okay, so depending on your version, we're about to read Zechariah 2:8, or it could be 2:12, depending on your text. But it's going to say the same thing. Read.
"For thus saith Yahweh Yah, after the glory has he sent me to the nations that spoiled you. For he that touches you is as one that touches the apple of his eye."
Read that again out.
"For he that touches you is as one that touches the apple of his eye."
He that touches you, the you is Israel, the Hebrews, the Israelites. Whoever touches you is as one who touches the apple of the Father's eye, his iris. So whoever touches you is like touching the apple of his eye. We are the apple of his eye, family. Let's get the next witness out. Let's go over to Yashayah 34. Yashayah 34 or Isaiah. Isaiah 34. We're showing you why Ukraine is going through this pain. And we got witnesses.
34 and what point?
34 and start from the top, 1 through 3.
"Draw near, ye nations."
Come.
"Draw near, ye nations, and hearken, ye princes. Let the earth hear, and they that are in it, the world and the people that are therein. For the wrath of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his anger upon the number of them, to destroy them and give them up to slaughter."
The wrath of Yah is upon them to do what?
Upon the number of them, to destroy them and to give them up to the slaughter.
So we're building our case, family. Let's take our time, especially for the new people. And we got Christians, all praises, they're coming paying attention. Isaiah 55:11. Let's not forget our foundation. The Father says, my word shall not return unto me void. We're reading two prophecies so far. Zechariah 2:12 says, he that touches Israel is as one who touches the apple of his eye. Now Isaiah, Yashayah, is saying in chapter 34, I'm bringing my wrath upon the nations to destroy them and to bring them slaughter. How is it that Jesus died for everybody? You see how they stay away, they avoid these prophecies, because when you read these prophecies, they're exposed that your pastor don't know the text. Your pastor went to school learning Christology, and he don't know the prophecies. If there's still nations around, this means this hasn't come to pass yet. I'm going to destroy the nations. They're going to feel my wrath. Next witness. Let's go over to Yashayah or Isaiah 43. Yashayah or Isaiah 43. His word should not return unto him void. So we need to know his word. Anybody agree? So in the Septuagint, you're looking for the chapter that has an X and an L behind it, because that's 40. That's how the Greeks do it. XL is 40. XLI is 41. Isaiah 43. Shimon, read.
And now thus saith Yahweh Elohim that made thee, O Yasha'Allah, and formed thee, or O Jacob, and formed thee, O Yasha'Allah, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. And if thou pass through water, I am with thee, and the rivers shall not overflow thee. And if thou go through fire, thou shalt not be burned. Thou flame shall not burn thee. For I am Yahweh the Elohim, the Holy One of Yasha'Allah, that saves thee.
They do what?
That saves thee.
Saves the world?
That saves thee.
He says, I'm saving you. The Holy One of Israel says, if you go through the fire or the water, it don't matter what that nation look like. It don't matter how many tanks that nation has. I don't care how many training exercise y'all been out in the woods doing. I'm going to be with my people, and I'm going to bring you through. This is prophecy. This is prophecy we're going through. Any questions or comments so far?
Would that be, for I am Yahweh Elohim, Ha Kadash Akkad La Yasha'Allah?
Kadash or
the Holy One of Israel.
Khan.
Ha Kadash.
Ha Kadash, the Holy One.
Ha Kadash La Yasha'Allah.
Khan, the Holy One. The Holy One. So we're building our case based on Isaiah 55:11. The Most High's word should not return to him void. We have three prophecies that we just read specific to Israelites, specific to Hebrews. We haven't read anything about the Catholic Church. We haven't read anything about the Protestant Church. We haven't read anything about born-again believers. We haven't read anything about Holy Ghost filled and fire baptized, speaking in tongues and filled with the whole fire. We haven't read nothing about none of your paganism that you're preaching. All these prophecies are to the children of Israel, physical Israel, no spiritually converted. These are spiritual sons of Abraham. Khan? Let's pick up. Let's go back to BaRashat. BaRashat is Ba is in, Rashat is the beginning, the head. BaRashat, in the beginning. Let's go back to Genesis, because this is when the Most High was speaking to me last week, and I didn't know what to do with it at the time because we was in the middle of service. But this is when he started speaking to me last Saturday. Let's go back to Genesis 15. And let's read this again. This is Abraham's promise. BaRashat 15, and let's pick it up at verse 13.
And it was said to Abram,
hold on, one second, let me find my space now. I still got to take my, because the Britain doesn't separate the verses. They run it like paragraphs. The Lexham separate the verses.
Not really.
You got both of them.
Yeah.
You got it.
You about this?
Yeah, she got both of them.
That's the same. What are you talking about? I got highlights in mine.
It's at the house. You still got it, babe. It's at the house. So the reason why it's hard to follow the Britain for me, family, is that those of you who don't have the Britain in the old days, they didn't separate the verses out and put them on top of each other. They ran the verses like paragraphs, and the verse numbers are inside the paragraphs. So that's why it takes us a minute to find the verse. That's why you see us like trying to find our eyes to where we're at. So Genesis 15 at verse 13.
And it was said to Abram, thou shalt surely know that thy seed shall be a sojourner in a land not their own, and they shall enslave them and afflict them and humble them 400 years.
How long?
400 years.
How long?
400 years.
So, Queen, can you pull this verse in the KJV for us? Because I want to show you how they were able to trick us. By giving us adulterated text, they were able to trick us. But the Most High says they're going to enslave them, afflict them, and humble them. It didn't say enslave them for 400 years. It didn't say afflict them for 400 years. It says the slavery and the affliction and humbling us is going to last 400 years. When you get bypassed for promotion and you got better attendance and better quality of work, but you still get bypassed, what do you think that is?
Affliction or humbling.
Humbling. Supervisor, please give me something to sound. Make it make sense. This joker averaged 2 days a week that he's present. His work is always coming back rejected. I'm here, how many days of work days is it? I'm here 5 days a week. My work is stellar. You gave me an award, but when it comes to being promoted, this joker got promoted. Make it make sense to me. Well, no, you got to see. Don't give me that gibber jab. It's the humbling. We're still under the slavery. We're still under these 400 years. But I want to show you how the church was able to trick us and saying, no, this happened in Egypt already. Y'all ain't the Israelites. This already happened to them. Let's read this out of the KJV. Genesis 15 and 13.
And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
400 years, right? So we're matching up, right? Now, Shemariah, read verse 14.
And the nation whomsoever they shall serve, I will judge. And after this, they shall come forth hither with much property.
Queen, read the next verse in the KJV, Genesis 15 and 14 in KJV.
And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance.
What the Most High dropped in my spirit last Saturday as we were sitting here fellowshipping, the text say, and the nation that they serve, I will judge. And then I was like, I was listening to the replay, and the father says, you see why? I was like, the nation? So I'm like, Father, what are you saying? And he said, son, how many nations did y'all serve? I said, well, we served everybody in the world. And then he says, but I said the nation. And I'm like, oh my Father. He didn't say, in the nations y'all serve, I'm going to judge. And the nation you serve. I'm going to make it make sense in a minute. Now, let me show you. So far, the KJV and the Septuagint are saying the same thing, right? Let me show you how they was able to trick us and saying that this 400 years has already happened. Shemariah, let's go back a slide. Shemariah, take us to Exodus 12 and 14, and Queen, you get it in the corrupted Masoretic text that we know as the King James. We're going to Exodus 12 and 14. This is how they was able to trick us and telling us, y'all not the Hebrews, y'all Negroes, y'all niggas and spicks and you wetbacks, y'all ain't the people. This prophecy has already happened. Let's go to Exodus 12 and verse 14. Shema.
Shema.
Hold on. Did I pull the wrong one? I might have pulled the wrong one.
Do you want to see what is it about?
Hold on, let me do this. I'm sorry, Exodus 12 and 40. Exodus 12 and 40.
Okay.
We're going to show you, family, how they were able to trick us inside the Christian church with that Jesuit seminary training. We're going to show you how they fooled us for years. Shemaria is going to read Exodus 12 and 40 out of the Septuagint, and Gina is going to read it out of the Masoretic, you call it King James. Shemaria.
And the sojourning of the children of Yasharallah while they served in the land or sojourned in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan was 430 years.
So say what?
And the sojourning of the children of Yasharallah while they sojourned in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan was 430 years.
The Septuagint, which is closer to the Hebrew, says that our time in Egypt and we was in Canaan. So it takes us back to before we got to Egypt. Our time before we became known as Egyptian servants, our time in Canaan and our time in Egypt was 400 and how many years?
30 years.
430 years. Queen, what does the King James say?
Now the sojourning of children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
So you see the switch up? The corrupted King James says the time of the children of Israel sojourning in Egypt was 430 years. Well, the prophecy says 400 years. So 430 is not 400. Does ABBA give us like a roundabout prophecy? Does he give us like an almost close? This ain't. So my father says 400 years of affliction. He didn't say 430 years. So they were able to twist our minds and say this was already fulfilled. They served Egypt for 400 years. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We didn't serve Egypt for 400 years, nor 430 years. But if you listen to these seminary, smooth polish, they took our minds and made people think, no, the Israelites already went through this captivity. They spent 400 years in Egypt. We didn't, family. We didn't spend 400 years in Egypt. We got brothers. I don't know them physically. I had a couple of conversations with these brothers, and they have a great work. You can find it on their YouTube channel. These brothers, from what I can see, are righteous brothers. Their YouTube channel is called Salt of the Earth. They have a series, The 400-Year Prophecy. I watched it so many times because it's so good. Once a brother does something, there's no need in reinventing the wheel. So there's no need for me to tackle this false doctrine that this has already happened. These brothers, Salt of the Earth, have a documentary, Second Exodus. They break down this prophecy with scholarship to prove to you this 400 years of affliction is not Egypt. It's not Egypt. Salt of the earth. So that's what got people's minds messed up, this false doctrine that you're getting from seminary. Israelites already went through this. No. Father says 400 years, not 430. And the 430 is our time in Canaan and Egypt was 430 years. And we were not slaves the whole time we were in Egypt. We had so many years we had freedom. It was only towards the end that they enslaved us. So this prophecy of 400 years of affliction, family, it hadn't happened in the Bible days. Everybody with me? Any questions, comments, or concerns? Joe, you got something up?
Yeah, Salakia. Yeah, you just touched on it. I was waiting to see if you was gonna mention something and say, but yeah, that stretch, when you think about it, I mean, people forget that Joseph, when he became a ruler in Egypt at 30, and he lived to be 110. And while he was alive, it was peaceful. There wasn't no beef. They was peaceful residing in Goshen and all of that. It wasn't until after he died that last Pharaoh came about, where that Pharaoh didn't know who Joseph was, and he started mistreating them. And when you trace that Pharaoh down to Moses, knowing that Moses, killed the Egyptian at 40 and then ran in the wilderness for 40 years before he was able to. So that span from Joseph dying at 110 years old to like 80 years old when Moses and Aaron was sent to get God's people, Yah's people, it definitely wasn't. It was like less than 150 years at that point when you do the math. So it goes to show like people just are not students enough to look at it and break it down to see that, man, that's just another one of the lies that they tell just to throw us off. So yeah, I want to look at that Salt of the Earth documentary to see the breakdown like you're talking about. But that's something me and Doreen kind of did the calculation in our personal study and saw that didn't add up. So that definitely ain't about that ain't talking about that.
Phrases, Salt of the Earth, and it's a couple other people. What you get inside the community is like monkey see, monkey do. They ain't telling you that you didn't come up with this on your own. You watched this brother's breakdown, and now you want to do your version. But Salt of the Earth is the first ones I seen break it down. And then this other Protestant, he has a nice little video where he did a picture. I'm like, wow, that made it make sense. But what Joe just did, we know the time of our affliction in Egypt by the births of our ancestors. But just take what he just said. If Joseph began to reign, he went there when he was 17. And let's just say by the time he was 20 or 30, he became the prince of Egypt. And then he died at 110. Let's just use this easy math. 30 to 110 is what, 80 years? So for 80 years, we wasn't servants, we were guests. So the prophecies say for 400 years. So if you subtract 480 from 400, what's that? 320? So that can't be Egypt. Because if we're going to just take what Ak just gave us, at the most you could say we were in Egypt being servants for 320. Father says for 400. 320 is not 400, but then if you watch that Salt of the Earth, like Gerald is saying, you keep going, it's even less than that. So the Christian church missed this. You're chasing those shiny degrees and those fancy little what we grew up with, those penny loafers and Florsheim, Stacey Adams. You want to be like Pastor and you soak up their doctrine. The Israelites didn't serve Egypt for no 400 or 430 years. So thank you for being that witness, Op. Thank you for that witness. Take us to Deuteronomy 28 and 68 again. And remember, while we're going there, family, our foundation for this class is Isaiah 55 and 11. Not one of my words shall return unto me void, but it shall prosper into the thing wherein I send it. That's Abba Yah talking. Like Chef say, not my words, not my words. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Shemai. Read.
And Yahweh shall bring thee back to Egypt in ships, by the way which I said, thou shalt not see it again, and ye shall be sold there to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and none shall buy you.
You shall be sold to your friends.
You shall be sold to your enemies.
You shall be sold to your neighbors.
There you will be sold to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
The Most High says you're going to be sold to your enemies. Not your brother, not your neighbor, not your friend. You're going to be sold to your enemies. And Isaiah 55 and 11 says, not one of my words is coming back to me void. Let's go over some lost history. Navai, you guys know
I wanted to ask a question in the Septuagint, Shamar, in your version. because in the KJV, Deuteronomy 28 and 68 has a very important word, and I just wanted to make sure. It says, and you will be sold into Egypt again. That means it will be another time that you go into this place of captivity. So I just wanted to know, does it say that in the Septuagint?
But in the Septuagint, it says, thou shalt not see it again. So
okay.
it didn't say, you shall bring you back into Egypt by ships again. It says, basically he's saying, which I told you that you shouldn't see it again.
Okay. All right.
He like a father. He go boy.
You gonna be all right.
Yeah, look, you gonna be all right.
He's sharp. I know he's gonna be all right.
He's short.
So also, Nariah, remember Deuteronomy 28 and 68, when we put it back in the Hebrew, it says something totally different. The translations got people discombobulated too. So, but the only part that we're going to focus on right now for the next couple minutes, the Father says you're going to be sold to your enemies. That's the only part we need to focus on right now for the next couple slides. Father says you're going to be sold to your enemies. Everybody with me? Now we're going to go into some history, and all these books are available at the BaRashat. They're also online, very cheap, because nobody wants to read them anymore. So the first book we're going to get into is The World Hoax. The World Hoax. And can y'all see the author at the top? Ernest Elmhurst. This author is Ernest Elmhurst, and he's a fish man. And this is his work exposing his own people. Now, I don't know about you, which one of you is going to tell the truth about your own people and expose your own people and make up lies on your own people? This book is written by a fish man, a Khazar. And can you tell what he's saying by the cover? Can you tell what he's saying by the cover? Pulling back the curtain.
Like y'all, like almost like how Esau be hiding, but
he said, I'm showing you who behind the curtain. I'm showing you who's pulling the puppet strings. This is a man, he's a Khazar. He's a fish man, and he's saying, I got receipts. Things ain't what these people, my own people, are telling you. Things ain't what they appear to be. So now you want to show me some images of Putin being a tyrant and Putin being mean. He's killing innocent people. And now you got news reporters, but you forget to tell what you did.
Brother Eber said, shalom and blessings.
Tell him I said shalom. He's a righteous brother from what I can see. So this book, those of you local, you can borrow anytime, but it's available at bless me with this, but it's very cheap because no one wants to read this book. But I'm going to show you Russia is not just coming out of nowhere with their gold. Russia is not just coming out of nowhere, nor is Russia acting of its own accord. So we're just going to read a couple highlights out of this book. We're going to go to page 118. And I want you to listen to this history that all the news medias and the radio shows, they are all owned by who?
Yeah.
Fish people. Khazars and fish people. That's what those of you who are new, we call them fish people because they're fake-ish people. So we say fish, they're fake-ish, they're fish people. So all the news outlets, your TV, your internet, everything is owned by them. That's why they decide which one of your videos is going to get censored, which one of your songs they're going to play. It's all good because even though you own everything, my Father owns the world. You can't stop us from putting this truth out. You lock me up, good. Lock me up in jail. Guess what I'm going to be doing? Push-ups and preaching. That's what I'm going to be doing. I ain't going out to fight, man. Don't worry about that. You better pack a lunch. So let's read some of the world hoax. Page 118. Shamaria.
Start at top.
Just, did I highlight? I tried to make it easy for you.
You didn't highlight. What part? No allegiance?
No allegiance.
All right.
So kind of at the top. Everywhere the general public is beginning to realize that the Jews, because of their race consciousness and their worldwide distribution, can have no allegiance to any specific country, and as a matter of fact, practically consider themselves transients everywhere.
Can you read that again?
Everywhere, the general public is beginning to realize that the Jews, because of their race consciousness and their worldwide distribution, can have no allegiance to any specific country.
Stop. Ernest Elmhurst, who's a Khazar himself, he's a fish people himself, he's recording this. And he's saying that the world is beginning to see that the Khazars can't have allegiance to any one country because they are distributed into all countries. Y'all see where this is going?
Yeah, I'll let you hit the punchline.
Let him use you. That's how the spirit flows.
When you pointed out nations, you meant an ethnic group or ethnos. I feel like you pointing at not nation as in the nation of the United States, but you're sold into the hand of a nation of people, a group or institution of people.
They control everything.
If this was hot bread and butter, I'll be moving closer to the base. Because Shamaria got the belt. He's getting close to the belt. This was hot bread and butter.
I played it when I was little.
Y'all remember hot bread and butter?
Somewhere where like you getting warmer. Yeah.
So hot bread and butter is a game we played in because we grew up poor. We make our own fun. Somebody had to take their belt off, or if none of us, if we all had elastic pants on, we'll find a switch. And you will hide that belt or that switch somewhere around the yard. And then whoever hit it, I'll come back out to get the rest of us. Hot bread and butter, come get it. So we'll all go looking for the switch or belt. And as someone getting close, you got to say, am I hot, warm, cold? Or Gina, you cold, you ice cold. And but the trick is keep your eye on the person who hit the belt. Because as you see them moving close to the base, you know Shamaria is close to the belt. And he'll say, warm, warm, burn it up hot. And then when Shamaria see it, he grabs the belt and starts chasing people and whipping them. And he can whip you all the way till you get back to the base. So if you fell.
Now I'm got to monitor the Facebook starting to pop now.
All praises.
Yeah.
All praises.
Facebook.
So if this was how bread and butter, Shamaria is on fire. Because when the Most High says you're going to be sold to the nation that you serve, I'm going to fake them. It's one nation singular. And I was like, well, Father, we were in all nations. So, Father, what do you mean, the nation? So we're running down who we're serving. So page 118 from the top, what did he say? Highlight
it for you.
Everywhere, the general public is beginning to realize that the fish people, because of their race consciousness and their worldwide distribution, can have no allegiance to any specific country, and as a matter of fact, practically consider themselves transients everywhere.
We're just visiting. This ain't our land anyway. We're just here to usurp all the natural resources and get back home. Because where are we from in their minds?
Israel.
So we don't care about Russia. We don't care about America. We don't really care about South America. All we need is those resources. And what was the number one resource that built this world? The Israelites. The Israelites. So this is Ernest Elmhurst, a fishman, saying the world is starting to see. The Khazars don't care about no country because they consider themselves just visiting everywhere they go. Page 119, Page 119, I see a typo. Let's see what how far over I took it. Page 119. Russian destruction. Because now they want to, they punch you and then hide their hands. And that's what now they want to paint Russia and Putin some mean tyrant, but you ain't telling people what you did to Russia when y'all was there. Let's read about this out. Russian destruction. Let me help out. I'm sorry. One of the books I
probably start. Right. Probably start at Consider Russia.
All right. So we read that, right? Come again. Consider Russia. Let's read that paragraph.
Again, consider Russia. The Russian workers from the Russian workers whom the Jewish communist leaders had promised to liberate from their alleged czarist yoke.
So you gotta, all of us are young, but you can't forget world history. Russia went through a period where they had a czar set up, and this czar was oppressing the people. But the Khazars were over there with bank influence, with commerce influence, factories. So the Khazars presented to the Russian oppressed, we're going to be your saviors. We're going to save y'all. So the fish people presented themselves to the Russians as their knight in shining armor. Sounds familiar? Who runs the NAACP? Who's the founders of the NAACP? The Khazars. The Khazars. Who financed Dr. King? The Rothschilds. Yeah. They're always acting, we're here to help. We're your knight in shining armor. But what it's going to cost me. So that's what they did in Russia during the 1940s. The Russians were going through being oppressed by their government, and the Khazars was like, we're going to take care of you. It's a shame what they're doing to y'all. St. Jews, the Shriners, they come as bearing gifts with an AK behind their back. These are the Khazars that you run into. Vote. It's going to get better. The game ain't never changed. You keep reading their literature and their seminary doctrine, and you think you got something. You're recruiting people to come to your church to get glazed up. Who do you think set you up to do that? They've been figured out if we get the Negro clergy on board, we got the Negroes. Because that's the foundation of their community. They've been paying you out the whole time. Read that again,
Again, consider Russia. The Russian workers from the Jewish communist leaders had promised to liberate from their alleged czarist yoke, learned through ghastly experience, unfortunately, that the Jews did not in the least fulfill their pledges to free them.
Read on.
They only utilized the state of decay of former imperial Russia, for which they had long conspired as a golden opportunity to elevate their own race on an immersed scale.
Read that again, because this is new to everybody, this history. I'll read it again slowly. I'm going to break down what he's saying.
Again, consider Russia?
No, that last sentence.
Okay. They only utilized the state of decay of former imperial Russia, for which they had long conspired as a golden opportunity to elevate their own race.
So now that the government is collapsing, here's our opportunity to pounce and take over Russia. So that's why the Russians kicked them out. And where did they go? Ooh. You check my computer. What's next door?
Ukraine and Crimea.
What's the major one?
Khazaria. Oh,
Germany.
Oh, Germany. Germany. Ah,